All right, can we have your attention, please? We thank everyone for coming out tonight. This is our first ordinance. I called it a seminar, not so much a town hall, because we really wanted to explain how the ordinance department works, functions, and highlight some positive aspects of our city. We understand the significant negative issues that we all have to work on. But I think the first thing is that we come together as a family, identify what we have to do, where we want to go. And I really would like to see the city really have faith in each other. I don't hear a lot. I've been here a little over a year and a half. A lot of block parties, a lot of how different parties on the block integrate with each other, owners, renters, different ethnic backgrounds. But I think it takes us all talking about it, not ignoring a problem. Bill's going to go into some of the procedures where you can lodge complaints. I asked tonight to have cards so people can have those, and we'll probably read those at the end. We're not going to solve everything tonight, but I think the first step is you have to look each other in the face. We asked for it to be Zoom for any residents that have handicap or disability issues that may not be able to be here, but we wanted to make sure that we want transparency and communication as we tackle a lot of these problems. I handled the court part with my assistant corporation counsel, Hussein Saad, and our paralegal, Mohammed, who's present here, and Mary, that sits with us. Obviously, our ordinance officers. I'll do a quick introduction so they can stand up and say who they are. And Bill's going to talk about how the city is divided and who covers what. So you'll know who's responsible for your area and how to get hold of them. Communication, communication, communication. Faith in each other, trust in each other, and let's hold back on the attacks right now. But in any case, I'm going to turn it over to Bill. I thank you, Mayor Bazzi, for being here, Councilman Saab, who's here, as well as everyone on Zoom that's watching and participating. Thank you.
Thank you, Corporation Counsel Farina. I just wanted to do some quick acknowledgments briefly before I started. I wanted to thank Mayor Bazzi, Corporation Counsel Farina, the Assistant Corporation Counsels that joined us, Mohammed and Hussein, the Mayor's Office, Stephanie Shockey, Ash Althman, and Jonathan from WDHT, as well as Bob Ancraft, who is here. I do have several of my staff members who are here as well. I have Russ Ortman, who is going to be speaking, his ordinance enforcement, animal control. Rob Bunker is here as well, same ordinance and animal control. Kev Abbott is standing over there. He's in ordinance and animal control as well. And then Mary Provenzano, who is here, who does our, she's clerical support staff, and she does our court. She's a court liaison. So there's index cards, information over there on the table as well. There's coffee and donuts as well. There's water, as everybody has seen already, I'm sure. I wanted to start out this event on a positive note because we have a couple of residents who have helped us immensely with respect to animal control. And I just wanted to highlight them because they're very, very diligent in what they do, and they've been doing it for a long time. So I'm going to step over here. I think the mic's on over here. The first significant, I'm sorry, hang on a second. We wanted to take this opportunity as an opportunity to share the information, resources, and offer insight into the inner workings of Ordinance Enforcement Animal Control Department. Additionally, we wanted to take this opportunity to shine a spotlight on a few of the residents who assist our department as well as the community on a regular basis. Both of these ladies quietly make contributions and have done so for years without praise or expectation of praise. They simply do their part to assist our furry residents as well as their human counterparts through their contributions. The first certificate is going to Ms. Karen Teslak. Ms. Teslak has been a resident of Dearborn Heights for almost 35 years and has been making blanket donations to our animal control department for almost 10 years. In addition to assisting our department, Ms. Teslak also makes donations directly to Michigan Humane, blankets as well as other donations. We appreciate her commitment to assisting the animals and her donations to our department as well as Michigan Humane. We are honored to give her the recognition she deserves. Thank you, Ms. Teslak.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Come on, you're gonna be fine, no problem.
Okay, you sure let me do it.
Absolutely, we appreciate your help. Surprise. You?
Huh?
I told you that. She was trying to avoid it. Come on over here. You want to do it by the seal, Bob, I assume?
Toward me a little bit, get away from the
Oh,
wall.
okay.
There you go.
There you go. Get in between us.
Oh, I already got mine on the chair.
Okay, move that way a little bit, folks.
Well, you can use that one, I guess.
That way a little bit. There you go, perfect.
I'll give you
Okay.
one.
There we go.
You did?
Okay, big smile, folks. All right.
I have it on the chair.
Oh, okay. No, I think, this is Lisa's, okay. Oh, is it the, okay, yeah, that's hers, okay, very good. I've got it right here.
Got it.
She's next, yeah. Thank you again, Ms. Teslak. Can we give her a round of applause, please? Thank you, everybody. Our second certificate of recognition is being given to Lisa Shea Wallet. Ms. Shea Wallet has been a resident of the city for approximately 15 years. Of those 15 years as a resident, she has spent about 10 of those years reuniting animal owners of the city with their lost furry family members. Ms. Shea Wallet utilizes social media and other resources tirelessly to try to help lost animals find their way back home within our city. Ms. Shea Wallet's efforts have resulted in countless pets being reunited with their family. We are presenting her with a certificate to show our appreciation for her efforts in our community. Thank you, Ms. Shea Wallet.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
I'm not sure that would.
Yeah,
That's
we got
yours,
it.
right?
Thank you.
Make sure you did.
Come on toward me just a little bit. There you go, there you go. A
Yes,
little bit
no.
closer. There we go. There we go. Big smile. Looking good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies, so much. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys. Yeah, I do too. I'm gonna let 'em all.
Can't tell you how many times I get Facebook messages.
Really? From you?
I should have stayed over there.
I think that's this
Yeah.
person's dog. Okay, let me go ask.
Sorry, this is a little haphazard. The recommendation was to sit down, but I'm not sure this is really necessarily a good idea, so we'll find out, I guess. We'll find out together. Some of the questions we have is, why do we have ordinances and examples of that? The city wants to ensure that all residents, property owners, and visitors are able to enjoy the city neighborhoods without having to experience a property that is in deteriorated state or in poorly maintained property negatively affecting property values or quality of life. Maintaining a property in safe and attractive appearance is acting as a good neighbor to those living or working around you. The city becomes aware of code enforcement in many ways. Ordinance officers proactively patrol the streets. Let me pull up my chart here. Ordinance officers patrol the streets daily, looking for code enforcement issues within their service districts. A complaint could be received by email, telephone, or in person. I'm sorry, I lost my spot here. Should have a thing. I'm sorry. Complaint is received via email, by telephone, or in person, and an officer is scheduled to conduct an inspection. If a violation is observed, the ordinance officer takes a picture of the violation, attempts to speak with somebody at the site regarding the issue, and sends an official warning notice letter to the property owner if a verbal warning isn't available to be given.
Bill, may I ask, sorry to interrupt the
That's all
question, but when you say that people can complain by phone, by email, or by communications.
Yes.
Can you explain just a little bit how people can report concerns or complaints to the ordinance department?
So like I said, there's several avenues. The newest one that we have, I was getting to that. I was gonna show, I've been showing the court enforcement slide right now. It kind of shows you how they work out. I'm sorry if it's, the picture is not that great. I think you can see it up there. Okay. But the avenues we have are, email, we talk to somebody in person, and we have the latest thing that we have is the city's website. And I have it up here, actually. It's on C-Click Fix. It's Dearborn Heights Connect. What I'll do, since Roger brought it up, I'll actually show you the video real quick that tells you how to do it.
And this video's on our website?
Correct. The link is on the website. It shows you how to do it. It's actually down at the bottom on the main page. Report concerns right there. You can do it through there. And once you click on it, it tells you, or it says a submitted request. It takes you through the steps, the process, and you can actually get an app on your phone. I'll play the video really quick and it explains to you. So it's working.
The City of Dearborn Heights is excited to announce its new community engagement app, Dearborn Heights Connect. Now citizens can visit the App Store or Google Play to download the Dearborn Heights Connect app directly to their mobile device. It's also accessible on our website at dearbornheightsmi.gov. Go to the Report Concerns button. You'll find it there. First, click the orange Add button. Confirm your address or the location of the issue. Choose the category that pertains to your request. Then, snap and upload a quick picture if you can. Describe the specifics of the request or issue. Then you can set up an account to track your request until it's fixed. We know submitting a request can be an ordeal, and in some cases, it's hard to find the department that's responsible for specific issues, when an issue has been addressed, or even how to report the issue. With Dearborn Heights Connect, the power is in your hands. Go ahead and download the app today.
Thank you.
So once you go on that site, you can see below here, this shows you can click and set up a new request. And this map is interactive and it shows you on there the different ones. You can click on these individual, once you submit a request, you can click on the individual complaints and you can track them. And we actually use this, as does DPW and other departments within the city. And you can track your complaints. And we can gather data and information from here. And like I said before, to submit a request, you just follow the information on the bottom, click new, submit new request. It's pretty user friendly. I just wanted to show that so people are aware of that. That's another avenue that we can utilize to contact our department as well as other city departments who submit complaints.
How does a follow-up work, Bill, when somebody puts in a complaint? How would the process work to track the complaint?
With our department, we have BSA software, which we utilize to track our complaints. We don't necessarily use this program since we already have BSA software already set up. Our officers have an enforcement open. They schedule an inspection. The officer goes out. If it's unfounded, they will close it. If there is a follow-up, they can schedule follow-ups. They can schedule court follow-ups using that software on their particular addresses that they have the enforcements listed on, all the way through the whole process, through court and everything. So, it's something that we've utilized for a long time. The city's had BSA software. A lot of municipalities use it as well. It's pretty functional for us. So, yeah. Okay. That's one of the many avenues that we use to get complaints into our department. Getting back to the notices, the owner will receive an official letter. The letter will stipulate that there's an issue on the property, and a lot of times it'll be mentioned how long the individual has to correct the problem. If the problem is addressed, the officer conducts a follow-up inspection, notes that the violation has been corrected in the city computer system, which is BSA software. If the violation is corrected, the case is closed. If the violation is not corrected, the property owner receives a municipal civil infraction, and the respondent is expected to address the violations. I showed you the slide a minute ago. You can see it's pretty much spelled out how you go through. On the left-hand side, the left column says, no, those are the way the complaints are lodged, other proactive inspection or neighbor complaint, and then you can see the stages as it goes through. So a lot of times people think that the process is simple. If somebody has to come to court, people have rights. We always respect people's rights. Sometimes the process takes a little bit longer than others. So there's no set standard. Roger could probably speak better to that as far as the process itself goes, but it's not always necessarily cut and dry. Sometimes things are more complicated. So,
Bill, you talked about the city being broken up into different regions where your ordinance officers are assigned. Could you talk a little bit about that?
yeah, I actually have, I printed off maps over there. I apologize, the clarity is not that great. I literally just had those printed up, and David Cooper, our IT director, just got those set up for us. Let me see if I can find I apologize.
We're passing some of them out now, so you can have a look at it, and any questions we'll take.
Yeah, the zone map is up on the city's webpage. If you click onto our department, I'll show you our webpage too, that has a lot of seasonally relevant information on it. And if you look on this right column down here, it has, I apologize, Kev, your name is still misspelled. We'll fix that. David Cooper has to fix that. But it has a link for their email, has their name. And then if you look here, area 1 is Russ Ortman, area 2 is Floyd Bunker, 3, and everybody I think has a general idea of where you're at. All these boundaries are major streets, so it's a lot less confusing. This is something, a lot of times we have people that call us and they're like, I live off of, Warren and DaCosta. I don't know who my officer is. So this should help eliminate a lot of those questions. I think this is pretty clear, and this is pretty neat. I was super excited when this came up. We literally just got this. And then you can see down at the very bottom, Robert Bunker does our commercial and business areas. So, and then some of our biggest complaints, most of our complaints are property maintenance related. The big one is grass and weeds. It's something that we have to go through every spring and every summer. There's just an influx of tall grass complaints. Your grass has to be kept under 6 inches. Parking inoperable or abandoned vehicles at property. I'm sure everybody in here has probably seen some of these things. Parking vehicles on front yards or unpaved areas, not maintaining the main structure, garages, keeping them in good repair, such as paint chipping, and these are all basic maintenance things, but these are all things that are actually covered under ordinance. Not keeping garbage or debris properly stored in your trash can. That's why we have trash cans. I'm sure everybody's aware of that. Not shoveling snow in the wintertime. These are many of the items that ordinance enforcement is concerned about. Also, businesses operating without proper licenses, the registration of unregistered rental properties, certificate of compliance, and a host of other violations. I mentioned this the other night in the council meeting. Most people don't know how many chapters we enforce under. It's 25. Nobody can answer that. That's a lot. We do a lot as a department. It's not just grass or abandoned vehicles or, shovel, walks not shoveled. There is a lot of things
Bill,
that we cover.
If I was going to ask you about how much how many staff you have, and do you have extra staff, like for instance in the summer, or especially with the blight you mentioned with lawns and things like that? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, actually, right now there is 5 full-time ordinance officers, and we have 4 of them are certified animal control officers. One of the things that gets away from people that most people don't realize is every one of the 4 officers that's certified animal control officer serves 1 week in the truck, and they rotate. So not only are they doing their work in their areas, they're also responding to animal complaints via police radio with the police department. So that's something that people don't know. And then in the summertime, I usually bring in a couple of part-time employees to just do grass violations, because the grass violations, this is something I know that I've seen a lot of your faces before and everybody knows this, but it's something that we have an issue with. We have to send a contractor out to cut people's grass in 2023, 2024. It's very frustrating. It drains the resources, but we have to do it in order to try to maintain some semblance of order with respect to the property. So I think, did I answer your question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so you have 2 part-time?
That's the plan. That's what I try to do, is have 2. I have one in the north end, one in the south end. That's all they do, is go out and write grass violations. I use them 28 hours a week max, and that's all they do, is they go out and look for grass. They drive around looking for grass violations. They're assigned. They're given inspections for enforcements for grass violations, and then I tell them to look for grass that's too tall. And we write a lot. So, okay. One of the most important things, I do have a couple examples of hopefully none of you have ever seen any of these. This is a correction reminder that gets posted on your property. Hopefully nobody's ever seen any of these. If there's some type of violation that the officer observes, whether by virtue of complaint or by just their visual inspection by driving by a location. And then this is the actual, I've got thousands of these printed already. This is a notice of violation for grass. This is very specific. Cites the ordinance on there and everything. If you get one of these, you have 7 days to cut your grass. On the 8th day, we're cutting it for you, because we're helpful like that. Honestly, it's one of the most challenging parts of this job, is just, you can't get people to cut the grass. It's so frustrating. But I digress. One of the things that I want to mention too is that if you do call in a complaint, try to give us as much information as you can. One of the things you have to remember, we can't walk onto people's property to do an inspection. Mr. Koresh knows this. There's people that know we're not allowed to just walk onto somebody's property and go in their backyard. The front door threshold is all we're allowed to go to, unless we're invited on a neighboring property to view issues in the backyard. We can't see it, we can't do anything. Plain and simple. That's it. Everybody has rights. Try to be accurate on the address. I've had people call and say, well, it's here. When we get a complaint in, I want to put it in the system. If you don't give me a valid address, we got to guess. And I've done that before, and I like to do it because it's time consuming. Sometimes I've gone out to try to find these things, to get an address to put an enforcement in. If we don't have an address, we can't put an enforcement in. So please, if you're going to call, try to give us as much information. We'll ask you if you have a dog in your yard, if we can have access to your yard, if it's something in the backyard. We want to come out and catch all these things, but we're limited in scope because of the Constitution, obviously. So, and additionally, if there is anything else, if you get a correction reminder, please reach out to us. That's one of the big mistakes that people make. They get it and they sit back and they're not going to do anything, and then next thing you know, there's a ticket on their door. So I know there's a couple people I've seen before, and I went to the Eaton Center and talked about this. People don't understand, if you get a ticket in your name, you know what happens if you don't respond to it? You get a warrant, right? You get a warrant for your arrest, and people don't realize that. You don't want that. So we want these things, we don't want people's money. We want compliance. Hussein and Roger that's what we want, is we want compliance. We don't want people's money. We want everything to be nice and neat and clean. So if you happen to get a correction reminder, please reach out to our department. We'll work with you. We don't want to cause any unnecessary strain or stress in anybody's life. So, yeah, so just keep that in mind. So, do you have any other questions? Is that good? Okay. The next portion here, really, I just wanted to make this more of a personal approach. I asked one of my officers, since 4 of the 5 of the officers in the department are also certified animal control officers, the officers take turns running the animal control truck on a weekly rotation. During the weekly rotation, as animal control officers, they work hard in responding to animal complaints, and I'm going to tell you right now, I can't say this enough. It's very frustrating. I know people are frustrated, but these men and women in my department, I love them all. They're great. They're great people. They're hardworking. Okay, so it's some things that people say I take it personally because I know them and I see what they do. Now that I'm explaining this to everybody understands they're not just going out because they have court follow-ups they have to do. We write a tremendous number of tickets. I'll show you the number of tickets that we've written. I'll show you the slide here in a second. I got a graph that shows that. You can see the change from 2019 to 2023. On the left-hand side is the number of tickets. See that? Is that the green? The green, I'm sorry. Yep, the green chart is on the left, and on the right is the number of enforcements that we've done. Very odd. I don't know why in 2023 they dropped, maybe because everybody's scared and everybody's complying. There's fewer enforcements in 2023. Well, look at the number of tickets. It's almost triple. So we're out there doing the work, and doing what we can. So that's a lot.
What's the difference between tickets and enforcements?
A ticket is, you have to come to court. You get an actual municipal civil infraction, you have to come to court. And enforcement is just a note in the system that there was an enforcement on a property. So, yeah, I just wanted to relay that information too, that these men and women are doing a lot of work that I think a lot of times goes unappreciated and unrecognized, and I really appreciate them. So, like back to where I was going, this is called a day in the life. Like I said, they work hard to respond to animal complaints, as well as checking on their ordinance complaints in their respective areas, as well as checking court follow-ups when time permits. I wanted to give you a more personal perspective. I have asked Ordinance Officer and Animal Control Officer Russ Ortman to give a brief overview of what his daily routine consists of. Without further ado, Russ Ortman.
Howdy, everybody. I'm Russ Ortman. As Bill pointed out on the route list, if you live anywhere north of Ford or west of Telegraph, I'm your local officer. I'm also the guy that's got the Tuesday through Friday shift. So on Fridays, I have every animal control call that comes in every Friday, barring a holiday, all year round. So I've probably been down in just about every neighborhood at some point. Bill's covered a lot of it. I'll kind of sum it together in a one-day stretch. Our first stop on anything when we check in the morning is putting together everything that may have come in from the night before. The C-Click Fix notifications, any new enforcements that some of the staff in the office might have taken. We get each other's voicemails all the time. So if I get something that's in Kev's neighborhood, I'll schedule that down for him, and we just kind of compile that all together. Take a look at what our day's route's going to be, respond to our own voicemails, our own emails, schedule our own new enforcements, and we check on everything we get back from court, everything we've got scheduled from previous addresses we've been to. Because honestly, our biggest goal is education and safety at all these properties. So when we leave an enforcement the first time, we schedule our own follow-ups to make sure when we come back, stuff has been addressed. Because if it just sits there, I might have let somebody know they can't have a car with 4 flat tires sitting in front of their porch, but if I don't go back and make sure that they fix it, it didn't do them any good. So normally that takes us about a half hour, a little bit more most mornings, depending on how busy it was. Our court cases always get scheduled Tuesdays and Thursdays. So on those days, sometimes we got a little bit of extra in the morning for any sort of pre-court checks we need to see to make sure we're reporting the right way when stuff comes up. On the average, in a slow season like midwinter, we're getting about 20 or 40 per day for each one of us when we leave the door and start driving out places. When it picks up in summer, things are growing, animals are moving more. Goodness knows the stray cats are going everywhere. That can be anywhere from 60 to 90 before we even drive on the first street. When we hit the road, we're checking not just the stuff that's been assigned, the follow-ups, all the stuff that's already in the system, but if I drive by and I see, residents have moved out of a rental, the owner has cleared out all the inside material that was left behind and it's just that big junk pile on the curb, I'm going to stop at that one and leave them the notice to contact Priority Waste for a bulk trash pickup, to let them know we don't just dump on the curbs like that. Anything big that stands out on our route to the checks we already have scheduled, we're hitting those too. We also have to check after court cases. If they're before the judge or the city prosecutor and we come to an agreement on resolving an issue, we have to make sure that they follow through with that agreement as well. So that's more stuff we see in the road. When I was quoting the 60 to 90 or so average, that's before even when we were doing stuff with grass. You could go, before we had our part-timers just covering summer issues, you could start one part of a block on Ford Road, make it to Warren, and spend the entire day, and you'd have written about 40, 50 or so houses. Because we've got a lot of vacant rentals, and we've got a lot of folk that are new to home ownership and don't know what they got to maintain, and we've got to try and help all of them. On top of that, we're also, 4 out of the 5 of us are animal control officers, and that's about a quarter of our month. That's going to be everything from bite cases, both reported to us and through the police department. That's following up on quarantines. If a dog's bitten a person or dog on dog, we have to observe for 10 days to be able to rule out the safety concern of rabies. That's injured wildlife, injured skunks or deer, or goodness knows what we've had. I pulled cans off of skunks' heads, and we've gotten very unfortunate deer off of fences before. All that stuff comes up in a given week. And then on top of that, we also, kind of as a courtesy, kind of as a help, because we have the gear, we have our assistance with the feral and stray cats in the neighborhood. We've got a number of live traps. We have a request list that I keep in the office, and for a stretch of time, we'll come out, set our live traps for these stray cats, these feral cats, live trap them, take them into the shelter. They have a spay-neuter release program where if they're truly wild animals, they'll still get around to vaccinations, they'll still get spayed or neutered, and then they get re-released to the community. By law, it has to be somewhere in the same community. Typically, they use the Hines Park area for Dearborn Heights. There's water, there's shelter, there's food all the year round. They don't really come back to us. But they've been spayed or neutered, so they're not adding more cats to the population. If they're any flavor of social, they go right up for adoption. If they're kind of on the cusp, they actually have a couple of facilities out in Rochester Hills and Livingston regions where they've got barn cat programs. So it's trying to manage so many of these wild and feral cats, getting them safer, getting them to homes, or not clustering them too much together. One of the biggest drawbacks we have with the stray cats, particularly, most of you, I'm fairly certain, are aware that we recently edited our ordinance for ground feeding to include feeding the cats. When there's an easy food source, the cats will cluster together in larger numbers than they normally would. They're territorial. They normally space themselves out. And in the past few years, we've had, very sadly, more than a couple of outbreaks of feline leukemia specifically hitting kittens. And that is a very sad pickup when you get a kitten with a face crusted over. And when they're that close together, it's just that much harder to keep the diseases from spreading. A healthy adult can survive it. It's like a really bad flu, but they can typically survive it. Kittens don't have that kind of immune system, and it gets really bad. So we do it as a courtesy. We try to help manage. The city has a contract with the Michigan Humane Society over on Newburgh Road, Any citizen can bring a stray to them. You just say, I'm a Dearborn Heights resident, I found a Dearborn Heights stray. There's no cost to it. You just let them know roundabout where it was found, so if there's an owner looking for it, that's just more information they have.
112
112.
last year. You.
Oh, I brought in 112 cats last year? I brought in a few cats last year. The shelter really appreciates it. We manage the numbers pretty well without bringing in everything. It's also really nice. Most neighborhoods are going to have 1 or 2 stray cats, but it's really nice when people are looking out for them as well. They have commented many times for both of the women that got the notification tonight how much they appreciate the blankets come kitten season because they can't give those little things towels. Those fleece blankets are wonderful for newborns, and how much it helps to get contact for finding them home before we even have to bring them to the shelter. So, I think that covers the average, and then a little bit of the extra details on animal control. Thank you all very kindly.
Thank you very much, Russ. I appreciate it. Some of the other issues I wanted to talk about, there's a bunch, but I just wanted to reiterate some of the big issues that we have that show up occasionally. I think Russ mentioned it in his presentation about the special pickup with priority waste. I think there's information over there if you ever need a special pickup, that's anything outside of the 2 bulk items during your regular trash pickup, then your recycle and your garbage can. That's all you're supposed to have every week. One of the things I cannot stand, I'm going to tell you right now, is the seeing the easement, the right of way between the curb and the sidewalk, there with debris. There's a distinct possibility you will be ticketed for that, in addition to getting a bill for a special pickup. I can't stand that. It's one of my big peeves. A lot of times people will contact priority and arrange that in advance, but I just had one in court this week. She got a bill for it, and she got $750 in tickets. So I can't stand it. So please call priority waste if you need a special pickup. I'll just go through my list. I did want to show you a couple. There was a couple court order cleanups that we've done. We did one recently, and some people may or may not recognize this. The address is not in this. At this particular location, we had dealt with this property for about a year. These vehicles have been here for a very, very long time. I think in total there was 34 abandoned junk vehicles that were people recognize this, right? And this has gone on. This has been here for a very long time. Guess what? It's gone now. But it's another one of those things where, things are, what's that? Oh, we'll be back. Don't worry. I'll come back. I'm like a bad penny. I keep turning up. So yeah, you can see, these are the before pictures. In this particular vehicle, some people may recognize that sat there for a very long time. I went on the Google Photos. Embarrassing, man. Seriously, but it's fixed. I didn't realize any of this stuff was really here until it was brought to my attention. You can see after the cleanup, all gone. And here's another one I wanted to show you really quick. This is from 2021. This is one of the first ones that I walked into. There was a garage that had been condemned. Got an order to take it down. You'll see when I show you one of the pictures, you're like, oh, it doesn't look too bad. I mean, the backyard looks horrific, right? We're being honest. Here you go. Slight problem there, right? So, got this one, and I got the bids, and here's mid process. Had it all checked out. Make sure there is no need for any type of abatement. There was no issues with the property or with the structure, and gone. So, Yes. Yes, the homeowner, if there's a court order, they will be ordered to pay it. If they fail to pay it, there's one that I had show you, there were so many pictures. There was one in the same area as the first one I showed you. And astoundingly, the cleanup was $9,000, I think it was about $9,000. It was a horrendous mess. And then like a week later, the guy came in and paid the bill. I could not believe it because it went before council. I told him, like, it's been paid. They paid it. They're like, oh, okay, that's perfect. So if they don't pay it, it goes on their property taxes. So $9,000. I guess the guy just wanted someone to come and clean his property. It goes on the property taxes, and eventually it will technically turn into a lien if they don't pay it. But do me a favor, please don't blurt out questions, please. That's all right. I appreciate it. You recognize that, I assume, right? Okay.
Yeah, I thank the two individuals here that have attended. Mr. Jamal is the director of CDBG, and it's an honor to have him here, as well as the head of TIFA. And I'd like him, if he can come forward, just a few minutes to talk about what monies are available to help our residents fix up collapsed roofs. I sent a couple to him 2 weeks ago who had a porch of collapsing, but they didn't know that there are monies available to assist residents. We're trying to track those and make sure you know that money is available. And thank you, Director Jamal.
Okay, very quick. Good afternoon. Welcome. This is Mr. Jamal, Hassan Jamal, CDBG, CEDD. So I am the director for the Community and Economic Development. CDBG is one grant that we handle at that department. CDBG is the Community Economic Development Block Grant. So that grant is available for the city of Dearborn. It's about $1 million a year. So we can help the low and moderate income areas as defined by the service area, or residents who are qualified as low and moderate income. So they are qualified for, we have a rehab program that we assist residents who are qualified under certain, census data that they are low and moderate income. Believe me, a family of four is like $60,000. So a lot of people are qualified. So it's not like the poverty. We are like 130% of the poverty rate of the state of Michigan. That's the qualifier. So a lot will qualify. Now, this program is available for all the city of Dearborn Heights, regardless where they live. So it's not tied to the area, like low and moderate income area or service area that usually used for payment for direct traditional ordinance officers who goes into the areas that defined under this as low and moderate income. Usually, we are 25% of the city designated as the low and moderate income area based on the lowest block group. We have 57 block groups, 25% of them is 17 groups that they are designed to receive funding. So we fund like $135,000 a year for those guys to go to those areas. When they go there, they bill us and we pay them. That's one side of the program, which has nothing to do with the rehab program that we offer the people who end up having an issue with ordinance, buildings, something, whatever. So officers, they have this program information in their cars, not only them, but also the building department inspectors. So if something like, I can't pay for this, what do you want me to do? I'm senior, I'm on fixed income. Come on. We will actually take that. If it's an emergency, we speed it up. If it's normal repair, deteriorations, then it will go to the process. We are here to help. So please, anybody who knows a neighbor that need help, they can't keep up with their, building. We will help them. They need to fix the roof. The roof is like, the downspouts are flying. The gutters are flying. They have an old shingle asbestos, surrounding their house, and it's like starts falling. We do abate their asbestos, free of charge for them. And believe it or not, our program is loan without payment, without interest. Just calculating the value, the present value of the money with the future value. If you get 10, 15,000 today, if you sell or abandon your house, whatever, 10, 15 years from today, the present value is 10. The future value is like 2,000 because, the economic scale with the time. So you end up paying very little for what you got 10 years prior to that. So if you inherit your property, their kids, whatever, they're going to gain money if you pay back those $10,000 when they sell their property for $200,000, $300,000. At the time you take the rent, it's like $120,000. So it's beneficial. It's on an economic scale, it's very beneficial. And we do a great job in that program. We are the best. Dearborn Heights is the best rehab program in the state of Michigan. We do $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 sometimes. So far, we did 7 homes this year. And the average repair is like $45,000, $50,000. Best deal. It goes out for bid. We have very qualified. We remove asbestos from your home free. It's not on the loan. We remove lead free. It depends. Was not added to the loan. We do all the environmental testing free. It's about $2,000. We test your furnace. We send our inspector, or what we call, the construction coordinator. It's one of the certified inspector in the city. We use their time, so they go to your house to what kind of safety issues you have or health issues you have. We included radon right now because it become necessary. So we test your house for radon. So this is new to the program. So when your house is being inspected, repaired by us, you can say when you sell your house, free of lead, free of asbestos, healthy and safe. Free of charge at the present time. And all done professionally through the process. If you are, as a homeowner, not satisfied, we don't pay the contractor. Period. That's the part that we are asking the ordinance officer and the building inspectors, when they go out, they see something, it looks like for them that this particular family or they need some help. Here we are. Don't worry about the cost. We have a program. And this is being done. I've done that. I started this back 2004. I left the city, come back, and now I am reviving this again. And we've been successful for the last 2 years that I've been handling this program. The other part that the funding that we fund the officers and the building inspectors and the 25% area, which are designated, I don't know, this is not, but there are like few here, total 17 block group that they are designated in the city. About 10 in the south end and about 7 in the north end. That these officers goes there, they record the house that they went over there to inspect. They have a list, they send it to me with their salaries, how much the rate, I pay back the city. So between the ordinance department and the building department, we pay back every year $135,000. That's a big chunk of what the city budgeted for them. Again, it goes to the general fund, not to their department. If they want it, they can come to me. I do the budget amendment, and we give them back some money. That it goes to the general fund. With that, I'm done. Do you have any question?
I'm just going
She's
to ask,
after me. You know, we just been talking about this in the other public hearing. Rose, I did it quick. Right? Don't report me.
Nobody's gonna argue that.
Yeah, so I'm sorry. So don't report me. Okay.
Director
Go ahead.
Jamal, wait, one second. Director Jamal, could you give us your address, where you're located? And then you have some application forms, I think, on the table.
Yes.
That people can fill out. I would encourage you to talk to your neighbors. The biggest reward was we were in court a couple weeks ago, and a couple, I'm looking at their case, and they're stressed out. They want to fix their property, and they don't know any help. So I picked up the phone. I called Director Jamal, and his department is user-friendly, and they were so pleasant with the couple, encouraging them to come in that day after
They
they
are
left
already
court.
in process.
Thank you, sir.
They are in process. Their house will be repaired. Well, they have to communicate. We go to see, we don't have time. We visit, we offer our services for disabled, homebounds, that they cannot come to our office. We go to their homes. I personally go on every one of that, and we always go couples too, of us, to make sure, you know, there are no whatever acquisitions, so we go for. And sometimes, if they allow us, we record our meeting with them, so we can remember what's been said. So it's by appointment. Some of them, look, there's a lot of residents that work during the day. So if we are limiting them only for 8 to 5, well, how they gonna come to our office? So we do after. We do 7, 8, we wait. We pick one of us. We can't pay more than the hours that we designated. So, I do camp hours. So if somebody stayed until 8, so next day, okay, take 2 hours, come late. So we do accommodate that. Some of them, they come to us before work at 7. So we have people, they're waiting for them. So there's no excuse for anybody who needs help not to get help from us. We are located in the Berwyn Center. It's on Richardson. Everybody knows Berwyn Center? Well, no, disaster, it's here. No, this is not. Take it out. I'm not in charge of that yet. It's coming back to me anyway, but anyway, now it's not.
There's your address right there.
Yes, the address. Okay, you take Beach Daily, you turn left on Richardson, you're there, you see it. It's a big school. No matter how you go into that building, you end up in our building. If you go from the back, we have a door. You go from the front, you will find the people. You see where our door, so we have exit to both entries. As you know, Mr. Dabrowski, he's been there. Yes, what's your question, sir?
Thank you.
Does the funding work for anything that's non-structural? Like if it was overgrowth or something that just got out of hand for an elderly resident or anything like that, and they can't?
Unfortunately, we do replacement, we do enhancement, we don't do maintenance. Those are funds regulated by the federal government through the Congress, allocated based on improving the life, safety and health of the people, live in that particular house. Okay. Now, we don't have anything for rentals, because if we want to do it for rental, the problem is sometimes the owner of the building don't want to sign off on it. So some of the people who are renting, they do what we call smart move. They do like rent option to buy, or they do like rent contract, and it is legally documented, whatever. So they become owners of the house. In reality, they are owner under the paid full of the house. Sometimes they are not recorded at the county. So we bring the person who owns the house to sign with them. So as long as they show that the house, the resident of the house, they have interest in that house legally. So it's gotta be recorded. We ask them to go record it, at the county. We want to make sure everything is legal. So this is a way sometime, when you have somebody like renting and, thinking about buying the house, whatever. Oh, wait a minute. It gotta be legal. I gotta see that the house is in the name, okay, or the resident of the house is on the deed. As long as you are on the deed, you reside on the house, all what we need is at the closing that you bring in the other party, what we call a silent party, that they come and approve because they have interest in the house. So that's another good thing is that, sometimes they don't know. Oh, we bought the house, land contract, we didn't record it at the county. Sorry, you gotta go in the county, come back to us. We need to do a search, title search. I need to see your name is on the property and you live in the property. In a way, we are encouraging home ownership in the city, not rental properties, not renters. We don't want to give the owners of a rental property the advantage of benefiting from a program like that. So we are encouraging renters and not ownership and not neighborhood stabilization. Neighborhood stabilization is ownership. You need to have a pride in your ownership of the property. You take care of the property. It's yours. You see it every day. You shame on sometimes yourself. Oh, my grass. You have to do it. When you are a renter, And now it comes to the enforcement. Now you come to the struggle. Now it comes to people like you were seeing all this grass, whatever, rentals. Well, there's legal proceeding. There's a long, long way to do all this. Anyway, this department is doing a great job. I've been honest with you. I've been in the city before, 2004, 2011. I've seen a lot of improvement when I come back and seen a lot of deterioration in the city because of the increase of the rentals. But they are doing a great job, like picking up. Believe me, something like that, the cycle of improving a neighborhood is 3 years. 3 years. So you gotta give these people, hardworking people, a time to pick up that cycle. 3 years. They've been, how long you been, Director? 2 years now?
It'll be 3, April 7th.
So you still have 1 month. So, but I see the improvement now by doing this kind, but look, this is the first time in the history of Dearborn Heights that this kind of public hearing, town hall, seeing these people, you usually have 2, 3. Nobody's showing up. When I come in here, what the hell? Whoa. What you did, guys, to bring all these people down here? Rose was beating me down. I gotta go there today. This is important. Since when? Okay, I'm done.
Thank you.
Thank you. No.
Yeah.
I just.
I promised, Dr. Fernanda, our lawyer, great job. He did, I'm walking. He did not only this, but
Keep walking, Hassan.
He's doing a great job by bringing also another seminars regarding, how you can get rid of your driving record, how to help people with their, legal problems through the legal ends. We have people who can help our residents here free of charge if they have no money or whatever. This is first time. So, good to see this guy. This guy comes to me all the time, make more money.
Yeah, really quickly.
I'm sorry. Some residents want to talk also. We just want to make sure they're able to just do it.
Yeah, but we're following a routine right now. We will have another session like that.
Okay, I want to introduce engineer Hassan Saab. Please stand up. Our new city council. Please give him a hand. I'd like to see more council people attending.
Really quickly, I just wanted to thank Hassan Jamal. He's an oracle of knowledge. He's amazing. He's very supportive. Everybody has over in that department.
About me?
Yes, that's on you.
I'm talking about engineer Haas.
No, I'm talking about you right now. Yeah, I just wanted to thank him. He's very supportive, and he funds our department. It goes back to the city, but he provides a lot of. He's next. We got this. Thank you, Hassan. He is. Tom is top notch as well. And thank you, Director Jamal. You're amazing. Thank you.
The application forms are on the table for residents that you know on your block or in your area that will need to help. I would also like to thank Head of TIFA, Mr. Tom Roscoe. I'm not going to put him on the spot to speak, but we also have flyers on funds that are available for the TIFA region that you can take and get out to the residents as well. I think they're self-explanatory. If you should need them, this is our CDBG monies. And we have flyers on our TIFA monies as well that's available for residents to help assist.
One more thing, quick. If we don't have the help, we get you the help to other agencies. We get the people help, like food, healthcare, referring to the states. We take care of them. If we don't have, the money for them, we could put them to the county, to other agencies like local agencies. Good night.
Find me on Facebook and send it to me through Facebook.
Okay, I just wanted to go back into some of the other issues that we have, just to kind of touch on some basic things. Anytime you have a question about a tree, it should be directed to DPW. Some people know that, some people don't. The number is 313-791-6000. The biggest concern with trees is if they're actually deceased, dead or dying. The DPW is the one that would decide that. They'll send somebody out to inspect the tree. If it needs to come out, they will address that issue. If they're between the curb and the sidewalk, the city has the authority to trim them, which most people, I assume, are aware. And if there is a tree or bush that's encroaching on your property, you can trim that back off the property line. That's one of the questions we get a lot. One of the big complaints that we were getting recently are lighting issues. If you're going to put lights on your home, make sure you pull a permit.
Or business.
Or business. Businesses have to get permits as well. So yeah, just make sure that you're following that. That's one of the complaints that has really come up recently. We have light trespass ordinance that prohibits light from trespassing onto a neighboring property. Officer Ortman talked about the ground feeding briefly, as well as TNR. Please remember to keep your grass cut, sidewalk free debris, ice, leaf, snow. Make sure your animals are licensed. They have a collar with a tag on it, secure on your property. We've had a rash of bites recently. Nothing too serious, but just a reminder. And if you believe in that, microchip your animal. It's easier. We'd rather bring your dog home if it's stray. Keep your cats in the house, please. Businesses need to be licensed and following the business plan as presented to the city. Nothing between the curb and the sidewalk. Please take your trash cans in the back if it's not your trash day. Follow those rules, please. And on a positive note, we have a lot of activity, especially, and there's always been a lot of commercial activity going on in the north end, especially on Ford Road. You see businesses popping up all the time. But I've noticed that in recent months, there is growth in the south end in the Van Born corridor, up Beach Daily, and on Michigan Avenue. Particularly the Amico, the old Amico at Michigan and Gully. If anybody's seen that, there's a BP going in there now. How long has that been an eyesore, right? And a lot of these we've actually enforced on in the past. There are several businesses. There's a car wash that's going there as well, where the old McDonald's and Frank's Nursery and Craft used to be. I'm dating myself by bringing that up. Frank's Nursery and Craft has been there forever, but there's a car wash going there. So, and then in Van Born, there's businesses popping up there. There's a new banquet hall in Beach Daily, a repair shop at Van Born and Beach Daily. There's a couple banquet halls actually on Beach Daily and just north of Van Born. And then there's a couple companies that have popped up on Van Born, the Solid Oak Sausage Company, which just opened up recently. And there's a new chiropractor's office that came up in the area of Van Born and Detroit. Keeping with a positive theme, we are asking that residents, if you see a property that doesn't necessarily have to be a huge house, it just needs to be well maintained. You think it deserves a Bravo Award, you're more than welcome to reach out to our department. With respect to that as well, we're looking forward to getting calls about those or emails about those as well. I'd also like to encourage all residents and businesses to be neighborly. That's one of the things that we brought up before, and we're trying to encourage people. I know the pandemic has changed a lot of things, but I think we can gather again and be neighborly. That's just me thinking out loud. It's important, and some people need help. So I would encourage that, if you would. So, and if you see something needs attention, please reach out to us. A lot of you are not shy about that, so we appreciate that. So,
Thank you, Bill, and thank you for the ordinance officers. I invited a friend who talked to Councilman Ahmed and I about really taking this to another level as well. I feel that how our ordinance affects our quality of life in this city. So it's a highest priority for us. We prosecute criminals, we deal with contracts, but how we live and the safety and an area is very, very important to us. I would ask Mr. Grover McCann to talk a little bit about ideas of how we can do a blight campaign to clean up blight in the city, as well as even a safety campaign, which we've talked about, how to use media resources, what media resources are available to keep the pressure, not a one-time event. This is just a start today. I can't answer all the questions. I know there are a lot and I don't mean to be disrespectful in any way to anybody. But I think we need to take this up another level and keep it in front of our residents, whether it's billboards, ads, commercials, and if you could introduce yourself a little bit.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Farina. I really appreciate that. I'm Grover McCann of Hollingsworth McCann's Media Group, and we've worked with different media campaigns all over the United States, and specifically Oakland and Wayne County. And I suggested in talking with some of your people here in Dearborn Heights about some of the concerns we had about safety, about blight, about DUIs, drunk driving, the kids and the donuts and things like that. And I would like to propose that possibly the city come together and share this messaging throughout our networks on cable, on 247, and let people know what's going on. And the people that are not involved directly with the community, we will reach out to them through social media and things like that and let them know, and do a fun production where we incorporate the citizens of Dearborn Heights, especially the kids, to let them know that, hey, you cannot speed up and down my street. You're going to keep your place tight. You're going to do right. And that's one of the things that I think I would love to work with the city of Dearborn Heights in putting together.
In terms of like a campaign or a media campaign, what are
Right.
who would you be contacting and how would it be structured?
Well, I think we could reach out to the community and almost have somewhat like auditions, just like a motion picture, and have citizens, express their concerns and things like that, and get the citizens to appear on camera in these commercials and in these vignettes and videos and talk about what is going on and what you want to happen. And some of the things that Bill was just talking about are paramount in what we're proposing to do.
I saw some of you talked about some of the kids being in some of the commercials, for instance, the safety.
Right.
What did you mean? If you could explain that.
Well,
a
I
little
mean,
bit more.
if with parental permission, of course, I'm sure a lot of our kids are talented. A lot of our kids make videos every day. I know my grandson does, my granddaughter does, and I know that we have some real talent out here in Dearborn Heights, and we like to see what they're talking about and what their concerns are. And when you have people that double park in the school pickup line, or you have parents that cut the line and things like that, let's let the kids keep our adults responsible and let the kids talk to them and tell them, hey, you cannot do this, not in Dearborn Heights. And I think it would be a very, I think it'd be a great effort that we could do it, and we could work with the production team here in Dearborn Heights, if there's some other people that want to work with it, and get it out there and share it with the world to let them know that we're progressive and that we're doing something that's, really needed right now.
I saw some of the commercials, you had some of the kids like 15-second, 30-second, 60-second
Right.
commercials, and the kids say, look, I go to school here. Could you explain a little bit about?
Yes, yes, that's, traffic safety, school safety, informational videos with students and explaining the rules of the road around the school grounds and around the school, bus signs, warning lights, school zones, speeding, and like I said, double parking and things like that. And then, of course, with our young drivers that are just 16, just getting behind the wheel, there are a lot of things that we need to talk about with them too, so they can respect the rules of the road.
And with blight or cleanup.
Right,
things like
the
that.
same thing, just like we would have this young man. I think this man could be, Hollywood guy. And put him on there and let people know what they're doing and what they need to do. And, and enforce it and let them know if, you're not in compliance, we're coming to see you. We're going to pay you a visit. And let people know. Because a lot of people don't take the time to come to these type of meetings. They don't go to the council meetings. And they may not be aware of things like this, but we're going to reach out to them and let them know that we need their cooperation too. So we have a beautiful and prosperous Dearborn Heights.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you.
And I would just add, Councilman Ahmed has talked to Grover with myself, as well as two other social media companies. So he's taken it very seriously to really accelerate our media presence with issues that we've talked about at city council meetings, but we want to get it moving now, not to wait or delay. So thank you for coming, sir. We're going to open it up to, we have our cards, and Mr. Jishru will read the cards of questions, and then we're going to open it up to some question and answer sessions. We wanted to get this information out to you first. So.
I apologize. I will never, ever make fun of somebody's writing. Mine is horrible. This is, I can almost read this. I guess I'll just start to read it. Why does zone 2 and 3 in commercial, or I think it says who? Who does 2 and 3 commercial business? That would be Robert Bunker. I showed the
Robert,
map.
put up your hand so people
Yeah.
can see who you are.
Robert does all the commercial zones, or I'm sorry, all the commercial businesses in the city. And then I think I've covered this, zone 1, 4, and 5. Each zone has their own person, as you saw on the map. I took that down, I apologize. Everybody saw that, right? The map that I had up there, and it's printed off over there as well. So that's more clarity. Like I said, I'm really excited about that because people can have that, because I've had a lot of questions about that in the past.
Yes.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to embarrass you. I apologize.
But what I meant was, okay, that, zone 1, and, what is it, 3 and 2, and this come that is? You know, why is that?
That's the way, that's the way. It's a lot, is that what you're trying to say?
Why is it divided that way? What is the reasoning? Are there less people in 2 and 3?
No, the officer that handles the commercial, he also does they call them grease traps. And that's very important, a very important enforcement aspect of it. For
3 different sections?
No, there's Floyd and Robert. Floyd handles area 2 and 3, and Robert does all the commercial and businesses. So they're separate people. Yes, Robert Bunker and Floyd does 2 and 3. Does that answer your question? They're separate. It's a lot. It's still a lot. They're just grouped together. It's just the way it's set up for now. If I can get more full-time people, it'll be less of a strain. That's a lot of area. Is that, I feel like that's part of your, yes, that is, it's a lot. There's a lot in that area, right? This other one, we get complaints about garbage cans left out too long. A lot of times if we get them in an area, we'll send out somebody to post letters to remind people. I think people are getting the message now. We've written a couple tickets for garbage cans being left out too long, but I think that's more sometimes it's if somebody has an issue with their trash can, if it's busted or something, priority will tell them to leave it out. And sometimes we don't figure that out till after. So rake leaves, I'm assuming that means rake leaves in the street. We get complaints about that all the time. That's why I don't put anything in the street. We've actually written tickets on that. It's a $250 ticket. You don't want that. We do issue those tickets. Cars on the street on garbage day. That's a police issue. And somebody wrote sycamore tree. That's a DPW issue. I'm assuming you're referring to between the curb and the sidewalk. Either way, that's a DPW issue. Somebody wrote, how many violations do they write up each week? I would have to look that up. I can pull that data up, but I don't have it readily available. Why don't they write up a violation unless somebody calls on it? That's, it's not true. These guys, I encourage these guys to, if they observe violations, and I'll tell you right now, if I go on a block anywhere in the city, I could spend all day on it. I'm telling you right now. So it's judgment, and you gotta figure out what's more of an issue, because these guys already have enforcement stacked, as Officer Ortman mentioned already. But they are encouraged if they see violations. Remember what I said, if you can't see it, you can't do anything about it. So they're not stopping their vehicles, generally speaking, they're not stopping their vehicles and walking down the street looking for violations. And that's why when I had the chart up earlier that showed you the number of enforcements back in 2022, I believe it was. That's why the spike, because we did the sweeps. So that's why that huge spike. I was looking at this trying to figure out what exactly happened, and that's exactly what it was. So it's entirely possible we're going to do another one. I don't know if we'll do it this year, possibly. So yeah, they do issue notices of violations on things that they do observe during their routine. Construction debris ordinance, removal contractor and city, not homeowner. Not sure.
Does anyone?
That's Dennis. Mr. Krish. Go ahead. Yeah.
So, when there's debris on your property from construction that's going on next door,
You've,
We've discussed this before.
Right.
The styrofoam shavings.
right,
off the
and you
house.
reached out to the state and the federal government, correct?
It's gone to the federal and state, and everybody pointed at you, not personally.
Well, let me ask you a question. Who has more authority, the federal government, the state government, or Build This Rooms Department?
Dumping it on you.
Well,
The only,
let us know about it. I mean, it's an environmental issue. If that styrofoam is going into
That
the
was-
soil, they would take priority over us here.
I can't, I'm gonna tell you right now what I can do. We can write a municipal civil infraction, and it's gonna be adjudicated. I'm pretty sure everybody here knows that the federal or state government, if it was, that, I'm not trying to downplay that concern, but if it was that big of an issue, don't you think they would take it over? Well, all we can do is write a municipal civil infraction, right? And they're gonna get a fine.
And that would be at least a good start. We already filed a complaint with the city. Went to the police who came out and checked the property and asked me what I wanted to do, and I told them. The idea is that the styrofoam shavings that are in the property are not going away. They're not biodegradable. It's made of oil-based substance. It's there since last October and even prior to that. And it's like a fog of, this I can explain, it's like a fog that comes off the house. They have a way to mitigate that. It's shown on Beach Daily Road between Ford Road and Cherry Hill that a house was literally buttoned up with plastic from the front, and they were doing all the work, and it contains all that material. Building department tells me they don't have an ordinance for it. The building department says that they should have an ordinance that puts the contractor responsible for that. The mayor told me it'd be a civil issue. My thinking is, it's not a civil issue if it's something that the government has already said that the city is responsible for. I mean, I went all the way up the chain. I talked to Eagle, I talked to everybody that's involved in environmental safety, and I reported everything I found online that pointed towards the fact that this can be cancer causing, can kill animals, can kill the birds, can kill anything that is in contact with this material, yet everybody ignores it.
If you could you let me, I haven't seen this, but I know when I was prosecuting in Wayne County, we worked with the enforcement side of them, when they would have things that, because that not only goes into the soil, but when it rains, it goes into the sewer system. Okay, and there is an element of enforcement that needs to come in that's higher than, that's why we wouldn't even have an ordinance, because that would be the state regulatory agencies that would need to be involved in that, because it poisons everyone around you, not just what's in the soil, so.
Right, and I spoke to Wayne County about that, and I says it's being pushed into the storm drains. They actually sent a truck out, they sent two of them out, the state sent them out. And they says, we found it in the storm drains, so we know it's there, but we have a trap and they got most of it out. I said, well, this is most of it, this is 2 weeks after it was already done.
I've seen the penalties, and they're stiff, and there is an enforcement department. I know, but you let us know, and we'll contact them with you, because there is an enforcement division. I prosecuted with them. I know, I met with those sergeants, lieutenants, that worked in this area. And we were specially assigned, and you have to get to those guys and get that in there. And that'll work on following up on what you said. We prosecuted it, so I know it exists. Exactly what you're talking about. Runoff of oil or things like that from the soil. And even the banks that may have a mortgage in that house could be liable, because once you do the testing and you feed the bank now, somebody has to clean it up. You take that soil, you gotta take it to a separate site, have it treated to put back into that land. Okay, so that's all the DEQE and Enforcement Division that comes into play.
So the paperwork that I have that I'll show you, I'll give you a copy of, says that material, and fortunately I have ground cover over the dirt, so it protects the areas of which the stone that goes over it for decoration, but it gets through the stone and rests on that area below. The problem is not the grasses. It'll get into the grass, it'll work its way into the bottom of that. And
would you mind, I apologize, just for time-wise, would you mind if we can talk afterwards, and I can set up a time this, maybe by Friday, to go over it with you?
Hey, Roger, just a follow-up.
Yes.
question. Is this stucco that he's talking about?
What's that?
The stucco, were they doing stucco at the house?
Well, they're using
The
they're using 2x4 sheets of styrofoam.
Yeah.
And when they're joining it together,
They gotta shave it.
they shave it.
You know, I was gonna tell you, it's my field of work and everything, that stuff is not harmful to the environment. It's the same.
I will show you reports that says it is.
Well, why don't we do,
The material made in Michigan that they buy, it's not the same exact material, you buy a bag of potting soil, the little cup over there, it's the same kind of material.
Councilman, why don't we, I'm gonna talk to him separately, and then I'll send you an email, and you can respond to me.
I just wanna make sure it's styrofoam, not.
Yeah, I'll check, because I work with styrofoam and stuff, with cement and some companies that we're working with.
And all that work was permitted too, had permits for it, so just a side note. Do you talk, okay. What can be done with neighbors, don't cut grass or rake leaves? I think we kind of already touched on that.
So they would use the website, and they would put the complaint in, and then track it.
Correct.
So,
And then remember, again, if there's something in somebody's backyard, if it's not something that's visible from the front door of the home, we can't see it.
but you
No
could take,
enforcement.
you could take pictures and send it.
Correct. They
To
can,
us?
yeah, you could do that on C-Click Fix. You can send those as well. I'm pretty sure most people know how to do that. It's very helpful. If we can get pictures, if you send pictures, a lot of people do that. Very helpful. And then having access is another key.
And when we get complaints for like dog barking and things like that, it helps us if you tape record it and have a timing so we know the space. So when the officers show up and there's no dog barking and the neighbors keep calling, if we have it tape recorded in evidence, it helps us prosecute the case or go forward.
That one is a very hard one. The dog barking issue is very hard to enforce. We've tried that in court, and it doesn't hold up. You need to have a complainant with a consistent pattern of barking, with somebody who's willing to come and testify, not an officer pulling up and hearing a barking for 30 seconds. A lot of times when our guys go out, they don't hear anything. So there's no violation unless they cite them for not having a dog license, which they will generally do if there's a dog on the property, just as an example. Oh, we got a couple more.
No,
Okay. One of the questions is, once ordinance officers have come out, why does it take so long to have problem resolved after tickets have been issued? That is a very subjective question. Like I said before, just because somebody gets a notice of violation and/or tickets, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to comply. So we have the process we have to take them through. And the one thing I will definitely say is, if these gentlemen can compel the judge to give me a court order, you've seen it, I'm showing up. I'll act on it. But it's very, the judges and are very cognizant, everybody's very cognizant of everybody's rights, and we try to consider that. We try to work to resolve the issue without going to that level, because there's a lot of cost and a lot of trauma, quite honestly, involved with these cases. If somebody's, say for instance, hoarding vehicles or has a very, very bad backyard, or property, I should say.
Bill,
I had
the process has gotten quicker. It used to take
Yes.
6 months to get in front of the judge for the first time. We're down to about 30 days.
I talked about that before. They do have a timeline with respect to the enforcements, and I've spoken about this before. The team that we got now is amazing. These guys work very diligently. The court's great. We had a meeting shortly after I came in, and then we had a changing of prosecutor with Roger and Hussein and Mohammed now. These guys are doing a really good job, and we try to resolve issues as quickly as we possibly can, but everything, like I said before, is a process. So I think I went through all these. Hopefully I didn't miss any. If I did, I apologize.
I
Roger, you
think
had
we're
something
also
else.
cognizant that a lot of the issues sometimes involves mental health issues. So we've worked with the court to talk about other social service that can step in and help us. We have hoarders that have their houses filled, again, mental health issues. We've had to have some hospitalized. We work with the police department, with Ordinance, to try to be pro-sensitive and not harsh with people. Like I said, this is the lifeblood of the city. But there are other issues that we also would love citizen help and input in.
For sure. And I had, one of the other ones I saw too was about, I overlooked it, I apologize, was for I spoke to the gentleman earlier and I'll be in touch with him directly, so it's about the neighboring property. So I'll address that one separately. What did you?
I would just say, we've had some cases where neighbors have used their lights to shine on other neighbors for different reasons. So I think maybe some systems are within the city where we can have mediation. When we have people fighting over fence issues, or when you put one in or what you took one out. I do think, and I would talk to our councilman Saab and some of our city council to really look at putting some mediation resources into the city to help with neighborhood disputes. So like I said, there are different retaliatory tactics that neighbors use against other neighbors that we'd like to see. That's it for now. We just wanted to start off this as a first chance. We'll be doing more.
Really quickly, I do want to thank Tom Roscoe from Tifa. We do have a full-time ordinance officer in that area. We never had one before. I've mentioned this before as well. That's something that's really changed. You can see the dynamics are changing down there. It's getting better. Like I said, there's businesses moving in down there, which is very positive in my opinion. I just wanted to make mention of that. Tom's amazing, Tifa's amazing, and I appreciate his support and everybody else's support as well.
I just ask everyone to sign in on the sign-in sheet so we know who's here and we can keep track of everything. I have nothing further. If anyone has any further questions to ask us, please feel free. If not, please have the donuts and coffee. I got to carry the container back and get rid of that coffee. So,
Thank you all very
Thank you for
much. I
coming out.
appreciate you, and I think moving forward, we'll probably plan another event, maybe in a different venue, a different setup. So thank you all very much. I appreciate all of you. Everybody have a good evening. Thank you.